Okay, so I was looking up what the pigeon stands for, and I couldn't find pigeon on the human design keys,
Yeah.
but I found it on another name for them, which is dove. Okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the dove, when I look at the dove in the gene keys, it's gate 6, gene key 6.
Oh, cool.
Which is the programming partner of gene key 36, which is what I was doing yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
this is a follow-up of what I did in that video yesterday
Mm-hmm.
about the gene key 36. This is the following programming partner, and I was like, holy crap, I actually have this one in my chart.
Yeah.
So it was like I've been seeing this whole time, and this is how they've been trying to get my attention.
That's funny.
So anyway, I'll read to you a little bit about what those stand for. Oh, and also the other animals that associate with it is the pigeon, the dove, the hedgehog, and the squid. And I've been seeing hedgehogs too.
Oh,
So this has been coming through, and I just didn't know what it was.
that's awesome.
And it's in the sign of Virgo, and Virgo's been in Lilith since August of last year.
Oh, wow.
So it's very prominent right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the shadow, it's the conflict. In the gift, it's diplomacy. And in the CD, it's peace. So in the shadow, under conflict, the title is The Battle of Sexes.
Oh, okay.
It says, the conflict is the single most influential gene key in regards to the issue of human communication. It is the archetype of peace of earth.
Mm-hmm.
The root cause of all human conflicts. Conflict breaks out whenever two or more people agree to identify with their emotional state. Within the human body, the sixth shadow relates to the pH level of the blood. It is its job to maintain an optimum balance of acidity and alkalinity, I can't say that word, so that your cells can thrive. It is about the loss of this balance in the world at large. It is the imbalance between male and female, the battle of the sexes. The battle or conflict is not just about men and women, it's about the balance of all polarities, religion and science, east and west, rich and poor.
Yep.
The world itself has its own kind of pH level. Wherever it is imbalanced, conflict ensues. In the same way that an overbalance of acidic body tissue becomes an environment for viruses and cancer to thrive. So do social imbalances result in upheaval, corruption, and at their worst, war. It can be interpreted individually through relationships, collectively through and through collective communities. At an individual level, the shadow manifests through emotional state. If you have ever been emotionally repressed through shame or guilt or abuse, the entire culture within your being has been disturbed. Likewise, if you are utterly ruled by your emotions, there can be no sense of harmony inside of you. It's if you are stressed emotionally, your body will suffer. Emotional problems are the greatest cause of illness on the planet.
Wow.
The 36th shadow conditions you to be nervous when you feel uncertain or insecure about anything in life. The 36th shadow makes you nervous, feeding the 6th shadow, which responds through making you behave defensively. Likewise, your own defensiveness makes other people behave in a nervous manner around you. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings are unconsciously addicted to conflict. We long for peace individually and globally, but our collective low frequency ensures that we keep reinforcing the patterns of the conflict. The conflict between male and female is part of the world's oldest wound there is. You are genetically subprogrammed to defend yourself from the opposite sex. To bring an end to the conflict, you have to give up your attraction to the opposite sex. Sex and war are deeply interrelated. This is a profound and perhaps disturbing truth for many people, and especially so because there is nothing we can do about it. The 6th shadow is viewed at a social level. It dictates the relationships between differential racial groups. In this 6th shadow, the first gave birth to the idea of national borders and boundaries. And in the 6th shadow, that is the responsibility for the wars. When viewed in evolutionary terms, it is an ancient part of our genetics, and it has been a necessary part of our evolution. It ensured that racial diversity existed in the first place, allowing different gene pools to expand and thrive without too much inbreeding. Only relatively recently have all the gene pools begun to merge with each other, which suggests that the human race has arrived at a very important genetic access point. So it goes on a little bit more. Down here in the emotional defense strategies are primarily laid during the second 7-year cycle of children, of us when we grow up from the age of 7 until 14, which is also when we learn emotional intelligence. It's as you navigate through puberty. An enormous amount of life energy is tied up in protecting ourselves from the volatile emotional situations we felt as children. Understanding why projections and war take place in general. And so in the repressed nature, it's about being overreactive. It's concerned with maintaining peace between people regardless of the cost. This pattern is based entirely upon fear. People will totally compromise themselves in order to maintain control of their emotional environment. So basically, they're people pleasers.
Yes.
In the reactive nature, it's tactless, unable to contain its emotions at all. They vent their anger as well as projecting it onto others. They are unable to take responsibility for their own volatile feelings. Their most common defense is to lash out and then storm away. The dilemma of the tactless nature is that it is deaf to its own lack of tact. These people assume that the problem is always in the other person's, which unfortunately earns them no friends and makes it very difficult for others to get close to them. The only kind of person who will remain with such a pattern is the over-attentive nature described above. The secret to breaking this pattern is for the reactive natures to take full responsibility for their emotions instead of remaining stuck in a teenager mentality. The gift is diplomacy. It's basically talks about when one is able to see and own their own unconscious projections, they actually rupture the collective shadow patterns wherever they go. So it's moving from this shadow of conflict into the diplomacy, and then moving to the Sadi, which is peace, which is exactly what's happening in the world today with the wars, with the conflicts of relationships. So it falls in line basically with what I was talking about yesterday. This just goes into much more of a deep level of looking at the emotional intelligence and how we blow up at people, and we project our emotions,
It's so crazy
and we don't
how-
have that emotional maturity.
Exactly. That, like, all of that, like, the darkness, like, the dark side of these things are, like, what we would call today, like, narcissism,
Yes.
bipolar, all of that shit.
Yes, exactly.
But people don't want to do the work. They rather take a medicine to kind of train their brain to
Subdue
do
all of that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, it's just when you get off of it, you're going to experience that 20 times worse.
Exactly. But it falls with that 36 yesterday talking about the dark night of the soul. So that dark night of the soul brings us to a place of being able to do that inner reflection if we actually can look at it like that. But most of us don't when we are depressed or when we're, we fall upon those diagnoses that we're given, or we project it out into the world, and in turn, that goes on a grander scale, a grander level, and creates wars.
Exactly.
Because of the wounds that our forefathers have gone through and what we have experienced, and
And
we
the
project
wounds
out.
of men in general, because they think with the wrong head, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, if you haven't listened to Gates 36, the video I did yesterday, go back and take a look at that, and this will make a lot more sense.
No, that is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Have a good day.